I keep trying to record, and it keeps stopping. So once again, I want to say, before I say anything, Sony, you fucking suck. I want to talk, and maybe this is the problem and why it keeps stopping, about narcissism. Let's see how far I get this time. I have a friend who is breaking up with a narcissist, so it's been on my mind. And it's not just what he's dealing with, but what I have dealt with, because I'm giving him advice based on what I've been through. But I know also he's not going to take my advice, just like I didn't or wouldn't take anyone's advice while I was going through it. I had to do it myself. And ultimately, we all have this spiritual test, I'll call it. Everybody has to go through that. I'm going to try to not repeat myself, but because I've recorded a couple of times and the camera's just like, we decided to stop working and deleted the file. Honestly, Sony, I can't tell you how frustrating it is. The iPhone is so superior to everything on the market, and it really upsets me because I hate the company with a passion. I wanted to say this several times, but I feel like the company's evil, honestly. Like, people die creating the iPhone, and just because you want blue bubbles, it's like, ugh, really? Honestly, this camera can turn off 1,000 times. It's not worth, you know what I mean? I'd rather have the peace of mind. They talk about, you ever hear people say the mark of the beast? Like, all these doomsday religious people are like, oh, the mark of the beast, you can't participate in commerce unless you have the mark of the beast. Don't you think we're already there? I was thinking, what is the mark of the beast if not the apple? Like, wasn't that what got Adam and Eve kicked out of the Garden of Eden? Bite from the tree of knowledge, and now we have all the human knowledge in the phone. It like requires all of our attention. You know, you have apps, you have social media, you have your email. All of a sudden, our lives are in this black mirror. One of the many reasons I deleted my social media. And I even have I have a problem recording these things and posting it on YouTube. So why is your logo a triangle, YouTube? That's convenient. It's the play button. Why? Why? You ever see that? Why? Why? Anyways, that is a weird way to start anything, but I am so confident that this is going to cancel that I don't care. Mark of the Beast. Damn. What a weird concept. But yeah, I think that if you think about where society is right now, where immoral, like, sexual deviancy is promoted, like transgenderism. I heard Cat Williams say something about Baphomet, like the transgender demon god, lowercase g. It's very interesting that, like, essentially everything that they say goes against God is what's being promoted. Now, of course, like everyone else, I ignored any and all of that because it was like, what are you talking about? None of that's real. But there's so much of like a campaign against God that now I'm like, you know, it's kind of what opened my eyes to, like, maybe, you know, there's so many things to believe in and to champion. And here's the thing. According to Carl Jung, the human being needs an answer to the question of how the universe works, if there's a God. And you have to define that for yourself. This is also an alchemical thing, is that you need to define God for yourself. And if you look throughout history, there's been so many versions of God. There's a pantheon of gods. There's, you know what I mean? Which still, I believe Christianity is still polytheistic, or at least like Catholicism. There's the saint of this, the saint of that. It's like, you never met this guy. Who the fuck are you praying to? What the fuck are you doing? Is there one God or not? There is, but he's the Son, and he's also the ghost, and he's also in all these saints. It's like, the Catholic Church has been fucking kids for thousands of years. You're praying to that guy for a thing? Saint whoever? And then you look at, like, oh, these ancient Egyptians were so, like, look how basic they are. Have, like, 12 gods. Idiots. You have 1,000. It's like worse than the Hindus. Worse. Same. Um, no offense to anybody, but also, like, it should be simple. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way the answer is you erase all your books, burn every book, and memory erase everybody with the Men in Black stick thing. Do you think your story would come back exactly the same? Like, if there's a God, you should be able to find it, regardless of these books. Like, these books exist to keep you away from it. And I think that's because you have to realize your own divine connection to God in this process of individuation, or whatever you call it, alchemy, in order to psychologically be whole. And then you have purpose, and then you can build a life here. When you don't have that question answered, you're doing everything for naught. You're doing everything for nothing. You think everything is random. You could die at any moment. Like, your loved ones could die at any moment. It's not a good way to live. And I would look at religious people and think, I wish I could have that peace where you're like, oh, I'm just going to go to heaven, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm not stupid. I can't just believe. It's like, okay, explain to me what your version of God is. I have to pray in a different language? Not, God can't speak my language? Okay, tell me more. God is this and that, and he came here to kill himself, and then you owe him money. What? Do the math real quick. No, that doesn't make any fucking sense. You're wrong about something. Obviously, like, if a major religion was right about God, it would be self-evident to everybody. We'd all be that religion. It would be indisputable. The fact that anyone standing can be like, no, that's not true, means we haven't figured it out yet. So even the religious people, especially religious people, they're holding us back so much because try convincing these people it's not what they think. When the people think, like, it's Jesus for sure, don't you know, because of this and this, it says so in the book that a Freemason wrote. Okay, in a new language that didn't exist yet. The guy created the English language with the King James Bible, and then wrote all of Shakespeare's plays. Sir Francis Bacon. Google it before they change it. And you're basing, like, something that happened in the 17th century and saying, 1600 years earlier, this is what happened, verbatim. There's not a single word in there that's verbatim. And when you pray to Jesus, like, while the dude was walking the earth, that wasn't his name. Whose fucking name is coming out of your mouth? You don't even have a question as to what you're saying, who you're praying to, and why. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, major religions, there's so many holes. And then, like, in the case of Islam, it's like, on both sides of my family, everybody's Muslim. My dad is a staunch atheist who hates Muslims. My mom is Muslim. My dad is Republican. My mom is Democrat. And there was a lot of fighting in my house. That's how you make me. That's the soup that created this. There's a lot of conflict in here because there was a lot of conflict out there. But yeah, when my mom is praying, like, I would, like, watch her pray and not disturb her or stand in between her and east, her and God. I don't know why God is over there. It's like, God's all the way over there in the dirt. He couldn't pick, like, has he been to Hawaii? Why is he in the dirt? Why is the shittiest land on earth always where God gave us this land? It's like, you can have it, please. Please just shut up about it. So this question of God, it's not something that I sought out until I kind of achieved everything I wanted in life to, like, a level that I started climbing Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So like I almost was enlightened, almost at the top of that pyramid. And then I panicked because it felt empty. Now, when I started looking for an answer to God, once I was open to it, these religious people swarmed me. Like, I don't know how the fuck they even like on the street. Like a cab driver, a neighbor across the street who was like a former satanic guy who was saved by Jesus. Now he's a deliverance minister. Like, guy lives across the street, moved in the same week I did. It's like, what the fuck? Ex-girlfriend's pastor father, like one of my friends. Like, there's so many people were like, oh, this is, oh, God, here's God. This like billionaire couple was trying to feed me stuff about like, oh, I'm a seer, you're a seer too, and I can see angels and stuff. There's an angel, 15-foot angel, standing behind you right now. Why can you see him and I can't? Oh, he's moving. He's holding a sword and a shield. Why aren't you freaking the fuck out? Even if you've seen that your whole life, why aren't you freaking out? You're just telling me like, well, just matter of fact, there's an angel right there. What's his name? I talk to him, ask him something. Can I ask him something? Can you relay a message? Hey, bro, what's up? Which one are you, Metatron or one of the other Autobots or Decepticons? I don't know how angels work. So during my spiritual awakening, all of a sudden, out of the woodwork, all these people started feeding me. This is their way to God, right? And we can show you. It's like, okay, I'm listening. I'm open to it. Please proceed. And every single one of them. Here's the thing: is you have a built-in lie detector. Every lie you've ever been told, you can tell, right? There's tells. People kind of. I don't even want to tell you how I know someone's lying because I don't want people to consciously correct the things. But people always tell on themselves. And they project, which is another way of telling on themselves. So, like, I'd look at someone who says they have the answer and they have a relationship with God that's intimate and God gave them all the blessings in the world and stuff. And then I'd pay attention to their behavior. And then I think, okay, this person is unbalanced. So there's still a question mark. I was dating this girl and she was talking about Osho, and I was like, oh, I've seen some of his stuff. Government fired the people, by the people, but the problem is the people are retarded. I don't know why he turned Spanish at the end, but it was a great quote, and it's absolutely true. The people are retarded. But as I was watching him talk, I saw like a real blingy watch. And then you hear about the gurus like, oh, they're having sex parties with cocaine and stuff. It's like, okay, another grifter. Like, they can have a lot of answers, but there's always something to, if you follow them all the way, you're not getting there. You're not in heaven, because that's a very sexual promiscuity is a very, very big one. And it shows you don't have self-restraint, because if as soon as you have power, you start exerting it to get physical needs met, I know that you're off balance. So a billionaire couple that is collecting a lot of material wealth and cars and talk very loudly on the phone about they're going to buy the same car but in a different spec so they can just show off, like needing people to acknowledge, I only fly private, I'm this, I'm that. It's like, what are you doing? I have a problem. Even I've done more charitable things than anyone I know. I've donated more money than anyone I know, and I'm afraid to tell you the amount of money. I'm afraid to tell you the things, and for good reason. I know it's against spiritual law. I shouldn't be doing that. I can tell you I do stuff, but I know I'm fucking up if I'm like, hey, you know, even if my goal is to make you do it, I feel guilty by saying it. And I don't think giving people money is a solution to most things. I think you're supposed to donate time and effort. Like, if I see someone stuck on the side of the road, I feel way more like doing that act of kindness of stopping and helping them figure out their problem. I feel way more at peace and whole with that than donating my entire net worth to a cause. because you can't bribe God. You can't bribe the universe to give you a reward. And your intentions are a vibration. And when you start telling people about the good deeds you do, you're canceling out the good vibration. I think from my testing of how money works and how donations work and how charitable things work, that's what I've experienced. I didn't get a reward for the big things, the big grandiose things, but I did those things. Like one thing specifically is I got a very important life lesson from a YouTube video. And the guy was building a church in Tanzania. Not a church, sorry. He was building an orphanage for disabled children. And when I got this very valuable lesson at the time, when I was praying to God for like a spiritual leader, someone I could trust, because the people that were coming to me were grifters, very obvious ones. So I got a text and it distracted me, sorry. So I stop texting me, fuck. So I listened to this video, and it was such a profound thing. Like I almost got into a physical altercation where I thought I was in the right. And then the video explained that when you are reacting unconsciously, you're doing the devil's work for him. Like when you're cursing at someone, you're cursing them. So you're doing the devil's work for him. And it was exactly the right lesson I needed at the time. And then I started watching his backlog of videos, and I was like, this guy talks like I do. This guy, even if he's a grifter, I got actual value from this more than any church I've been to. So at the time he was collecting money for a orphanage in Tanzania, and he collected half of it by Christmas of whatever that year was, 22. And then because I felt so much value, and because I felt like I haven't, my entire life I've just been living to establish myself, to get the things that I want. I'm looking at how many cars do I need? You know what I mean? Like, really, I was just focused on me and my success and what makes me happy. And then I was like, well, I owe God one. I prayed for an answer. This guy needs help to build this orphanage. So I contacted them and I said, I will pay the other half that you need to build this orphanage. And I thought that if I do nothing else in my life, at least I did that. If I was going to die at any moment, I was ashamed of every single thing I ever posted on the internet. Every thought I had, every time I posted a picture of my car or who I'm dating or where I'm going on vacation, I was ashamed of every single thing. What are you doing showing people that stuff? And I believe every single time I posted, I was committing a spiritual crime. Every single time. Even a meme. And I liked making people laugh, so it was a really hard thing to give up. When people are like, oh, I missed your posts. I'm like, yeah, I miss it too, but it like scrolling through 10,000 things to curate memes for you. It's like, it's not my job. I'm not getting paid for it. I'll never get that time back. I'm on level like 7,000 on 3 different Candy Crushes. I'll never get that time back. It's gone. I could have built several companies. You know what I mean? Like, I have enough, but like, where's my mental real estate going? Where your thoughts go, energy flows, right? So I'm on so many tangents, but let's see where this goes. So I donate that money. I don't even know if that will help me in my taxes. I don't think I did it at the right time because I was doing it from the heart, not from like, this will benefit me in this way. And I still watch the guy's videos, and I still think that he's providing value to the world. Now, if you watch the videos, you'll think that like it's so beyond. Like, you have to go pretty far down the spiritual path and start looking down a lot of rabbit holes for the stuff this guy says to make sense. It does make sense to me, but I hope that he used that money, as he said, which was to house, feed, protect hundreds of disabled and orphaned children. I'm not there. You know what I mean? I'm not doing it physically with my hands. And in that sense, I feel like I did something wrong spiritually, because it's like I'm handing it to him and being like, you do the good stuff for me. And I had to do it to understand this. this energy exchange with the universe, because you're putting energy out into the universe will respond. You reap what you sow. So I've experimented a lot in this. So I know when my energy is good, that life flows. Things flow to me. I don't have to go out and earn money. It comes to me if I'm in flow. If I'm dating the wrong person, if I've done something wrong, if I'm threatening someone, if I am angry at someone, I suffer. My life suffers. And the universe corrects me immediately. Now that I'm on the path, if I deviate, if I go have a shot of tequila at a bar right now, I will have physical problems, like my body rejects it immediately. I won't sleep right for a week. I will have headaches. And then all next week, I won't make money. I've experimented over and over and over again because I wanted to, after taking my red pill, like, I'm alone here. It sucks. I don't want to eat gruel and avoid the machines, the AI, or whatever the fuck's happening. I want to have fun with people, you know? Let me be amongst the asleep people. So I try to take a blue pill every now and then, and the universe corrects me. I can't go backwards. I have to go forwards. And what's beyond this veil, I have no idea what's coming. But it has purpose. Whereas I know that when I was going out and partying, is that part of my life plan? Is that why I came to Earth? You know what I mean? I am a brahmacharian. Did I come here just to have sex with people? Like, this is, like, one by one, I removed vices. I fasted for 5 days with no food, no water. And then I realized how many things were in my diet that were poisoning me, because once I tried to reintroduce it, alcohol cannot. Soda cannot. Soda also has been proven to lower your IQ. Same thing with fluoride. Fluoride's in your water and in your toothpaste. So we have an entire population of dumb, blind people. And somehow I'm supposed to pick a wife amongst this group. And you know what? As I cleaned up my diet and stuff, like, then I started having a very clear connection either to the divine or the universe or whatever. Like, things make sense now. And I have friends who are depressed, like, especially guys that are married with kids, because you don't have the time to think about, how does the universe work? I wonder, like, what is the meaning of this? Because you have to, like, get your kids ready or take them to soccer or whatever's happening. And so many men have this empty, like, you are fucked, you're trapped, because as a man, you have to provide. And in exchange, you suffer because you haven't figured out these things before you built your empire. I had the fortunate circumstance of having my individuation phase start when I was single, at least unmarried, because I definitely did damage to many relationships, but nothing permanent. I didn't fuck up my kids, thank God. The kids that I don't have. And I feel like since I've gone on this journey and whatever, like, the fact that, you know, drugs and alcohol and are off the table, and being a good person is my priority, and I would never cheat, I would never steal, I would never lie, these types of things are not part of who I am. Now I'm the type of father to my future children that I should have been, you know, like, my whole life. And the thing is, I was that type of person, and I didn't fit in. I always felt alone because I was the only one not drinking. I was the only one not doing drugs. I was sitting alone in the corner at the party, playing on my phone, getting farther in Candy Crush. And when I started partaking in those things, like, sometimes you'd be MVP of the party. You have the most fun and you make friends with everyone. But then as I got to learn, the people that are spending their time in the party scene are all empty as well. I met people, like, very wealthy people who are in their 50s, and, like, every night I need to have an orgy, every night I have to go to a fancy restaurant. It's like, everything's external, and you kind of get blind, or you have this lust for material things. Like, even Andrew Tate, he's like, oh, get out of the matrix, but he's advocating, like, oh, fuck a lot of women, and you know what I mean? To me, I know not just for myself, but I know from meeting the people that live that way, they're unhappy. So intimately, like energy wise, I'm like, oh fuck, that's wrong. And oh fuck, what am I doing? Because I'm on the path to become them. I already have gray hair. What? I don't need to be hanging out with teenage girls. I'm not interested. I had like someone show me their friend, like, oh, you would like her. I was like, why would I like her? And they shows me a picture, and she's like one of these girls that gets flown out to Miami and stuff. It's like, I understand she's physically attractive, but what do you think I'm going to talk to a 21-year-old about? Like, how do you think we're going to have a conversation? I can never hook up with a beautiful idiot that phase is over. I know there's nothing there for me. It's not fulfilling. As such, I've even like in the last whatever 6 months I've had the opportunity, I've dated a few girls, and I did not let it get sexual because I believe you are married to who you're having sex with spiritually, and I want to make sure that that's a good connection because I know that we're going to exchange energy. And when it's the wrong person, we both suffer. I don't want to suffer. I don't want anyone else to suffer. I know that I'll lose sleep if I'm with the wrong person. My friend just experienced that. The entire time he's been with this girl, he hasn't slept through the night. And he's always slept through the night. I'm like, yeah, she's taking your energy, bro. Energy vampire. I keep telling you. It's an energy exchange. And he's also, because he feels uncertain about the relationship because she's always complaining. So he's in fear of losing her. And that built over time. Initially, he didn't care. And he was in his power, and she was obsessed with him. He would say she would rape me before work. Like she couldn't, he was irresistible to her. And then slowly she's programming him and saying, I'm upset because of you and you need to do this. And because he's a good person, he tries to change to fix it. And then as soon as he loses his power, as soon as he gives into these demands, she's not interested. I'm moving out. I don't like cried over nothing. You didn't ask me about my mom's cat. You don't love me. To now she's moving out, doesn't shed a tear. And I'm like, if only someone warned me. So again, like he's gonna feel stupid and he's gonna feel bad for a long time. I said give it 3 months. If there's no contact for 3 months, you'll be fine. But you need to like remove yourself. Once you have perspective, everything will be fine. But also that's when she comes back. Like as soon as you're over it, that's when they feel it. There's like an invisible tether between you and the person who caused your pain. That's why I say it's spiritual. And they know immediately. Soon as soon as that smile comes back on your face, she'll come straight back to fuck that up. Wipe that smile off your fucking shit-eating grin face. So somehow this has to do with God, but I feel like these people come into your life for a lesson, a reason and a lesson. You let them in for a reason, and it's because you need the lesson. And as you graduate these levels, like I feel like I can skip relationships now, or skip the heartbreak, or skip, you know what I mean? Like it used to be every time I fell in love, it's like, oh, there goes 2 years of my life. Oh God, I'm not gonna be okay for a long time. I guess I'm gonna lose my gains, bro. I guess I'm gonna have to like, you know, I don't know, prepare for financial difficulties because I won't have motivation or energy to make money. No mas. Because I've learned. One, everything happens for your benefit, even if it doesn't look like it at the time. When I look back, all the horrific things that happened to me, like people trying to kill me even, I'm like, oh, well, I made it, so thank God. But also, like, I see how I grew from it. And I wouldn't take those things back because I'm in a place now where I still feel all the entire spectrum of emotions. You can get happy and sad. You're still a human being, but you'll never go so far off the deep end that you wish you were dead, or you're so depressed that you feel helpless or powerless or whatever. And that's the kind of thing that I want to share. When I say I want to help people, it's like maybe this can be contagious, not just sickness. You know, when you're having sex with a sick person and they give you their disease, not an STD, but also an STD. But like when someone is traumatized and they haven't fixed it, They're going to pass it on to everybody in their life. I don't know why this is, but so many women have sexual assault stories, and so many have sexual assault fantasies. That's why people like fake it. You know what I mean? It's for the attention. And the reason they're doing that is they feel like it's happened. That's, you know what I mean? Like they feel inside like it has happened, so they create it in reality. Sometimes sometimes I know someone specifically who put themselves in a situation, then got raped, and then feels feels no self worth and like a victim and blah blah blah. But I know this person well enough that I know that they felt like that beforehand. So it was a very interesting thing, and I dedicated 13 years to try to fix that person. And still now, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you this. Like, I still feel bad for that person. And I'm like, hey, do you need help? I will help you. I'll pay off your debt. I'll teach you the things that I know so you can help yourself. Like, if you want to get married and have kids, no man is going to be with someone who doesn't have any self worth. Let me show you how to build yourself up. And she, of course, wants to be a victim. She wants to be identified with this happened to me, so I don't have worth, so I don't deserve this. I'm going to get cancer and die anyways because my grandma died of cancer. It's like, well, people don't just get sick randomly. You smoking will give you cancer. You know what I mean? You have to be doing something wrong. You don't just catch things. This is a very weird thing that people think. Like I have a guy friend who was telling me he's depressed, and he would very matter of factly said he wasn't going to live till 50. I was like, dude, you want someone else raising your kids? Words cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. Don't say that shit out loud. Also do these things. And I sent him a long text like, I'm probably took a lot for you to say to a group of friends that you are depressed. And I've been there, and I understand it's a very difficult thing to get out of. Ultimately, it's only you who can fix that. These are the things that helped me. And I just said, like, when you wake up, after your shower, after you're clean and comfortable, put it on cold for 3 minutes. You start your day doing something that makes you uncomfortable. You're accomplishing something also. It's called biohacking. Your body will go into overdrive, start healing. It's cardiovascular exercise, like your veins and arteries, the muscles around them tighten up, so your heart doesn't have to work as hard. Increases your, like in Nordic countries, they put babies outside to like increase their immune response. Like your body gets tougher. And then I said, do cardio, walk for an hour. Anyone can do it. It's 12 minutes. Walk for a mile. It's 12 minutes. An hour is obviously not. But if you can do that, you started your day doing something positive. It's not just a matter of making your bed so you feel like you did something. It's like you actually did something physically, and your body will respond. And he did it for a week, and he lost 6 pounds. And I promise you, if you look in the mirror and you see the changes, you'll feel better. That's one thing. But the bigger thing, it can't be purely physical. This world is spiritual. I promise. I know you can't see it, but take my word for it. And I hope you don't have to explore it, because it gets very scary before it gets good. The ultimate thing is you need purpose. And if you don't have the answer to what is God, how does it work, you will always end up back at square one. So at least with this answer, and you don't have to believe what I believe, you have to figure it out yourself. That's the whole thing. Carl Jung's father was a pastor. On his deathbed, admitted, I don't believe in any of that shit I was saying. Died hopeless. And he had to see that. And imagine how he felt. He's like, well, there's fucking for sure no God, right? And then I've said this before, he was analyzing a patient's dream. And she was dreaming about scarab beetles, which is a very, very symbolic beetle about transformation. He hears a tapping at the window, opens the window, the scarab beetle in his hand. And he said, this is synchronicity. This is proof of God. This is the universe was listening and said, hey, I'm listening. And so many things like that have happened to me that I cannot deny its existence. Just like Jung. He said, when someone interviewed him, you can look this up online. Do you believe in God? He said, I don't know. Hard to say. Because I know. How do I say I believe? I'm not sure if I believe because I know. And fuck me, is that not the same? I know. I know. You can't convince me otherwise. You could say there's like the government come out and say there's aliens tomorrow. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but there's still a God. I know the universe who created this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like whatever the distractions are, there's so many things to believe in, but you have to figure it out yourself, and you figure it out yourself by asking yourself and asking God directly. There's no man standing in between you and God. I was like hoping, like the alchemist, I'd have some wise guru come and show me the ropes. Where's Melchizedek to give me like umum and thummim? Where's like the mysterious stranger riding in on a white horse and teaching me shit? It's either like something's at work here on Earth, and if you can't see it, it means you're blind. And these are the things that I did to see, because for me, I didn't believe, and I'm the type of person who doesn't just believe things because I want to. I have to see it. So when I got diagnosed with kidney disease, it was also during COVID. I thought I was doomed. I thought this is it. So I started doing things I wouldn't normally do. I went out partying. I started drinking. I tried like Molly and mushrooms and stuff. Had a great time. I thought at the time I thought I was having a great time. The thing is that it has diminishing returns, especially if you keep doing it. You're just like you're chasing that initial high, that initial fun, that initial thing. But Alan Watts said psychedelics are helpful to get you in connection with the divine, but it's good that when you get the message, you hang up the phone, because it can become very dangerous. That's a very dark road you're going down. And as I went down that road, I started getting physical pain in my kidneys. So I was like, okay, I've done enough. So I stopped doing everything. I started to actually clean my diet, because my body was physically suffering. I looked good on the outside, but I was suffering on the inside. So I cut everything artificial out of my, like, no sodas, no energy drinks. I was drinking filtered water that I was filtering at home because I don't know what's in the water, that like this BPA or whatever. So I wasn't having fluoride, caffeine, you name it. I wasn't having GMO foods as far as I know. So all these things cleared out of my diet. Then all of a sudden my awareness changed. All of a sudden I was healthy of body, mind, spirit, and things started to just make sense. I hate that this is constantly correcting. I hope you don't get epilepsy from this. And that's how I started to see very clearly that there's more. There's the spiritual world has good and bad. The bad is seeking you out. The good you have to seek out. That's all I'll say about that. And if I told you about the stuff that I've seen and experienced, there's no way you'd believe me. You have to, but I promise you, other people in this world have seen and experienced the same things. And it's either we're collectively hallucinating, or there's a deeper reality that you're not in touch with, because your body, mind, spirit is poisoned. You're programmed, you're unaware. What if God was speaking to you every day and you just didn't know how to listen? So in my friend Amber's case, when she's doing something wrong, she gets clumsy. She loses things, she breaks a bone. It's how the universe is correcting her. If she doesn't correct her own path, things get worse and worse, and it's how she's supposed to pay attention. To another girl I know, she experiences weird synchronicities that are funny. She says like her life is like a Woody Allen movie, and it's how the universe gets your attention. I don't know how to fix that constant change, and I've said too many good things, and I don't want to start this over. And for me, if I do something, whether I eat something wrong, I'm with someone wrong, my energy I'm very in tune with now. If I eat something wrong, my body responds immediately. As soon as it hits my stomach, I don't have to wait and be like, maybe this will be diarrhea. It's like, it's Taco Bell. It's 100% always diarrhea. Their logo is 666 for a reason. So I there's a Tesla like circling me, and I can't tell you how much I hate those cars. And the fact that Elon Musk took that guy's name, Tesla was like a true savant genius and in service of mankind, and Elon Musk is in service for himself, a narcissist. Surprise. You know, a narcissist, you can always tell it's like small PP energy. They have this bloodlust to like take over the world or have power over people because they have, um, you know, to make up for something. Um, just spitballing here because you are insecure, like visibly insecure. Posts 400 times a day, tells us he's running 800 different companies that are really just branches of the government. Like he's not actually doing anything. He's just the face of something. Um, just like Commodus. That is a tangent. Okay, somehow this had to do with God. So, in every case, the narcissists that I know, even the ones that are religious leaders, they clearly don't have connection to God. They know that they are selling snake oil, and I really, really examine the people that say they have the answer. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. You kind of see when they put their mask on. Sometimes they put the mask in the morning and they don't take it off at night. It's like someone trying to scam an insurance company about an injury they don't have. But I watch and I'm like, I saw you bend over and pick that up. You're fine. Your back's fine. So those people, for a long time, I was like, they work for the devil. If they work for anybody, and I don't necessarily think that's not true, but I think that there's a spiritual void. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these people standing in between you and God want to be seen as God, like Kenneth Copeland or I want to say Osteen. Same. I saw him at my gym. I was like, that's a demon right there. Like I saw people talking to him, and I'm looking at him, and I was like, totally soulless. Totally soulless. You assume based on what you hear, but you can't get rich off God. What the fuck's wrong with you? That's the money that's supposed to get people into heaven. You're collecting and buying planes and shit. Oh, fuck you so hard. Honestly, like you're gonna argue that's not for the devil? Like Kenneth Copeland actually looks like the devil incarnate. Looks like a demon. Beady eyes and looks like he puts his face on every day. Like when Jim Carrey's evil friend took the mask. Looks exactly the same. In that 1994 movie, The Mask. Have you noticed movies suck? Okay, so here's the other thing. Purpose. Did I say this already? I said it in one of my previous things. I don't know if I recorded it, but I believe it's Homer who outlined the hero's journey. There's a climax and resolution and all this stuff, right? And it's supposed to be how you tell a story. And the reason it resonates with a human being, that's how you're supposed to tell a story, Luke Skywalker or whatever, and it's because it's how your life is supposed to go. You are on a hero's journey. And the only reason you don't get, like when you get the call to action, the call to adventure, you turn it down. And you're like, no, I'd rather be an accountant or whatever it is you're doing. You say no to it because you don't trust that, right? I know for sure. I was meant for this hero's journey. I have been through some crazy shit. I have been through unbelievable shit. And when I tell people, I know that no one can even understand. There isn't a single person who understands what I've been through. Nevertheless, I'm still here. If I can be smiling, motherfucker, you have nothing to complain about. I promise. There is an ultimate good force in this world. And the way I see it, if you look at the Bible and it says the fallen angels took wives and then, procreated and made the Nephilim and all this, the ancient Sumerian text said stuff about us being genetically engineered from aliens or sky people or angels. What if we're all angels? What's the difference between an angel and a demon? It's just what they do, right? Like genetically, they were the same thing. I don't know where this floaty stuff is coming from, but should I make a wish? So my thought is like I could be an angel or a demon, and the difference is what I think and what I do. So I take what I think and what I do seriously. Where your thoughts go, energy flows. So I also think that I can be the way God answers someone's prayers. And if I see someone in need, I help directly. Not by opening my pocketbook, wallet for the layman, but by offering actual help. So when people are emotionally hurt, I am so distraught for them. I immediately, like I said that in my last thing, like I immediately, when someone's hurt, I'm like, oh my God, how can I help? Let me help you out of this. Can I do a little dance? Can I make a joke? Why are there no casinos in Africa? Too many cheetahs. It's a dad joke, and it's not supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be ridiculous, and that's what's supposed to make you laugh. And if it didn't laugh, you need some help. Girl, who hurt you? So, when I think of being an angel or demon, I want to be an angel. That's what I want to be. I think that's what I came here for. I think maybe that's why my life lessons were hard, because it's the archetype of the wounded healer. You have to experience profound pain to want to heal other people's pain. And of course, a lot of people don't want to be helped. So, in that sense, I record myself talking, post it on YouTube in case someone somewhere at some point finds this helpful. You know, it's the conversation they needed, like it's the conversation I needed to hear from John St. Julian about I was doing the devil's work for him. I'm like, oh, fuck, he's right. How many times have I been the devil? So many times. And in my head, I think I'm a good person, but I 100% have done the devil's work for him so many times. I've been the demon. Tricky motherfucker. So, it's important to watch your thoughts, actions, deeds, thoughts. Every bad thing that's ever happened starts with a thought. So, controlling your thoughts, like I'm off the internet, other than the things I have to do. I don't just sit down and watch TV either. I find it very hard to. It's like nothing catches my attention because I'm not done with the thing I'm supposed to do here on the earth. What else can I say? I don't even know what I've been talking about as far as like how do I label a video. I'm talking about finding God and purpose, depression, narcissist. So, my friend that's distraught, like I'll go home and play video games with him tonight just so he has someone to keep him company. And I think it would be good for him to get out of town and just get out of his head. But it's just going to take time, you know? And there's only so much I can do as a friend. Like I can tell him do this, but he's got to do it himself. And I think that you know, as far as like I didn't just discover the energy thing by looking at my own life. I examined other people. So he was my number one dealer, not for drugs, like for business. Like he's actually like he's very useful. Um, and nothing's been going for his way for a couple months because all he's thinking about all day long is how he screwed up and how his girlfriend's upset at him. So all of his energy is going towards her. Even she's at work doing her own thing. And we've had to write a response to a customer, and I've been putting it on hold because I'm like, I know if I respond, I'll get the business, but I need you to. This is a you thing. I want to show him how energy works. So, as soon as this girl moves out, I don't think the floodgates open. He has to emotionally get past it. And I hope it happens quickly just because I know how hard it is. I really do. Especially like, I have such reverence for the people that hurt me to be able to say I still love them and to not also post things on the internet that like, do you know what this motherfucker did? This is their name and address, by the way. Go kill them or dox them or something. Like it's takes a lot of restraint because I want to tell you like these are the things because so you need no understand how outlandish it was, how affected I was, and how hurt I was. But there's no way for me to explain those things to you without you having an emotion towards the person, and that is counterproductive. So I think I swear every time I record something and I say a specific name, the camera just shuts off. Like someone is protecting my own stupidity. It's like my higher self is like, no, fuck that up. Start over. You're cussing too much on this one. Start over. Um. So yeah, I won't mention specific people. I won't mention the things that happened. But trust me, I know what pain is. I know, and I know profoundly. And at periods of my life, I was scared. I've been in life or death situations many times, and sometimes I taunted. It's like I taunted God because I didn't believe. It's like you kind of dance on the line a little bit and really test if Superman's gonna save you if you jump off this building. But I don't know. I don't know how to explain it to you. But I have no doubt now. There's a really good Louis C.K. joke where he talks about kicking this woman off a tall building because he thinks she wasn't funny. There's more to the story, but that's good enough to make it funny. And the whole time she's falling, not believing it, it's like the person she loves most kicks her off this building. And the whole time she's falling, she's not believing it and not understanding what happened. And then Superman swoops her up and then drops her from higher. Don't you wish that happened to the people that hurt you? Don't you wish? It's a really funny joke. I think he's funny. I really hope he keeps working. I hate that they Me Too'd him and stopped him. But that evil machine, Hollywood, protects pedophiles for a living. It was created to brainwash people, and like the first movies where I saw videos of like Shirley Temple and some little like pouring milk on their faces. It's a very suggestive stuff. It's like, oh, these people have always been perverts. So it exists to exploit humans, even children, and they turned against a couple of them every now and then. It's like, you didn't do what we say, so we're going to turn against you. We'll protect you as long as you do what we say. So whatever Louis did, or like Justin Roiland, for them to like take their ability to make money away, like, thank you. I wish you could talk about it. That's what I think, at least. Because it doesn't make sense that they protect the absolute worst ones. We already know that. That is a tangent. Let's get back on track. So that Tesla's still just driving in circles. Did you see that? They're just stopped over there. What are you doing? Learning how to drive? Now the blinker's on. Yeah, it's probably teaching someone to drive. They're Asian, so they're not going to figure it out. That's a Bill Burr joke. He said it's either Tokyo Drift going 200 miles an hour sideways, breakdancing into the club, or changing 5 lanes at one time without using your blinker. So, in this day and age, now I'll try to say something profound. In this day and age, I keep thinking about the people who hurt me not ending up on top. Like, I still feel sorry for them because, like, whatever they did to me, they lost a really good, loyal friend. And their life didn't turn well not just because they did that, but how you do anything is how you do everything. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're successful in the short term, it always comes back. So I feel bad for those people still. It's like you're self-destructive. It's like I described a snake eating itself. So, like, my goal, I suppose, at some point, because I think it's a spiritual issue, I hope that I learn how to fix that for people. I hope that I learn how to heal people's trauma and wounds, because the trauma is the biggest motherfucker. It's generational. It's stored in your DNA. You know, there's this study they did on lab rats. They exposed them to an artificial chemical smell that doesn't exist in nature, and then they would electrocute them over and over and over again until they would smell the smell. They'd start to shiver. They'd start to shake. So they were programmed to be afraid of this smell. Then those rats gave birth, and those rats gave birth, and then when they put that third generation somewhere where they expose them to this chemical smell, automatically they start shivering. They never even met the grandmother rat. It's stored in your DNA somehow. So, like, now look at, and the nature of trauma is you become the monster that created you. So I think about how so many of the women I've dated, where I've given my heart and soul to, because I know they deserve love, and I know they're hard to love. I know that they probably need it more than anybody. Do I tell this story? Someone I know, I guess I have to just be vague about it. In the process of the divorce, they spent 7 figures on a divorce. Brutal divorce. Very, very vicious. At the end of the divorce, asked the husband to get back together, and of course he was like, "Fuck no, are you kidding?" And I wanted to cry. I still do, obviously. And I texted that person that I love them right then, because of the spiritual problem of not receiving love. We're here to, as Robert Edward Grant says, we're here to learn how to love and be loved. Because that person doesn't feel like they're loved. They could have received all the love in the world, and they have, and they don't feel it. What a tragedy. God could give you everything, answer every prayer, and you still think you're in hell, so you create hell for yourself. That's tragic. And all these different women that I've tried to, like, please just listen. Just give me a chance here. Just try what I'm saying a little bit and see, decide then. They are doomed, You're it's a life sentence, especially for, like, the women that I've dated that have been sexually assaulted, especially as children. It's worse than killing them, because everyone they touch, like Rogue from X-Men, they're going to destroy them. It will permeate every part of their being unless they conquer it, and that's such a hard thing to convince someone who's been the victim of such a heinous act that there was somehow some purpose into it. Somehow God let that happen, but it was for your benefit. Again, like, you can say, Alan Watts said, man suffers because he takes seriously what the gods made for fun. If you had an infinite amount of lives, and what if in her previous life she was a rapist? You know what I mean? And that's the punishment. What if in my previous life I was a rapist, and now I have to go around trying to fix my act? You know what I mean? These are the things I actually think about. And when I think about that, that got me away from blaming the person that traumatized me, which is very important, like, to understand someone's motivation or how someone is hurt, and just take the abuse. Some relationships you have to go more than halfway, whether it's family, like, it's oftentimes in family, but I feel such a profound feeling of helplessness because I know the girls feel helpless, and there's nothing I've ever been able to do to solve it. Despite my honest best efforts. because it's a very complex. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. And then like also losing a vital, like a parent early on. In one case, I know this older gentleman who's a pastor who lost his mother early, and his father was an abusive alcoholic who also was cheating on the mom and all kinds of stuff. That happened to him, but he has a very close family now, like very, very close. I have personal differences of opinion about how they think and act and live, but he solved the problem from his, you know what I mean? He was motivated to be better and do better. It's still a very hard thing to digest. It's still a very hard thing to live with and forgive. But I know that even like I've heard him speak, and I listened, and I can still hear the pain when he said, "Oh, I just recently forgave my father." It's like, I know you didn't yet, and I hope you get there, because when you realize these things happen for a reason, you stop feeling like a victim, and that is the goal. If you can trick yourself into that somehow, please. But you'll never get over the thing until you find the purpose in it. You'll never get over the pain until you alchemize it. You have to change, like, that feeling or emotional responses is the most powerful energy, I think. And rather than feel defeated, you can redirect it. And when you do that, you have the ability to create heaven on earth for yourself and for others, hopefully. Hopefully you share it. That's what I honestly believe. In my spiritual journey, of course, like healing my childhood wounds and understanding myself and the people that traumatized me and all this stuff, it's like my ultimate goal is to be able to help people figure that out. And I don't really know, you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna make like a TikTok account and post shorts about, oh, have you thought of this helpful thing, or dance to a song with like helpful "You Matter" down there. It's like, it's like, I need a little more help than that today, sir. But again, like, if you can separate yourself from your trauma, however you do it, if you separate yourself long enough to see that you're creating your own misery, you'll stop being in hell. And I believe that, because I believe it's a spiritual problem, especially narcissism, a demon's job is to create more demons. So a traumatized person is going to create more traumatized people. Hitler did it to the Jews. The Jews are doing it to the Palestinians. The Palestinians will now export that wherever the fuck they have to go. Those people are traumatized as fuck. What are you going to do now? These children, like, frozen in shell shock, you're going to put that kid in another country. He's going to be angry. He's going to be vicious. And then, of course, because it's spiritual, that was the problem. That was the goal. It's not about Holy Land. It's not about us versus them. All it is how can we create more demons? This is the only way it makes sense, honestly. It doesn't make sense to me any other way. It's not about money. It's not about land. Creating more traumatized people. If you feel like you have nothing to lose, there's nothing you're not capable of, you know? That's a dangerous person. And I don't know how you fix it. No amount of therapy, no amount of, you know what I mean? What can you do? That's a hard one. Your family dies in an explosion. Like, what are you going to do? Become militant. Exact revenge. It's so sad, because people are convinced that war is the solution. It's like, that is the exact opposite. You never solve a problem by killing anybody. You create more problems. And of course, I mean, you think the people in charge don't know that? They study Hermeticism. You see the symbols on our money and everything. Like they know the rules of the universe very well. I'm just getting started learning it, but it's all by design. You you kind of have to you kind of have to be blind if you don't see it. Like the first video, a friend of mine in Israel, like I have to preface this, is like one of my best friends is Jewish, whole life, blah blah. I've been to Israel several times. I've never had a bad experience with a Jew in my life, actually. Um, and some of the closest people in my life, like the man I look up to the most uh, in the world. I think he's the smartest person I know. I visit him in Israel, spend time in his house, and I'm just captivated by what this man can do. He's like James Bond meets I was gonna say Thomas Edison, but I don't respect him. An inventor, Nikola Tesla. So he sent me a video. I was like, "How's it going? Are you and your family safe?" He sent me a video, and it was supposed to be a video of Palestinians dragging a IDF soldier out of a car and putting him on the floor and kicking him like a dead soldier. And as I was watching this video, I was like, "This is clearly staged, dude." Like I understand when you're emotional, you would just respond, "Oh my God, what are they doing?" But I was like, someone said action, and then they run up to this car. There's no noise. Then all these people come and start yelling "Allahu Akbar," and then they pull this guy out like kind of gingerly, and then you could see someone put their foot in front of his head. Then people start kicking the foot. I'm like, okay, would you have to do that if there's a real problem? They came in and they killed 40 of our babies, so we gotta just like level the entire place. It's like that is not a good excuse to kill people, dude. It's a very strange one to make up if you made it up, but kill people that have nothing to do with it, that'll solve the problem permanently, I'm sure. Tell me this isn't a spiritual world with spiritual warfare. How sure are you? Now, here's the other thing. I think that these types of things can't happen. Like I think about like the people that tried to advance, like if JFK or MLK, or I love saying Sam Cooke, but he was approaching things from a different angle than being a world leader. He was doing it through art and Tupac, things like that. I don't think you can be just killed randomly. I think you have to give the devil permission. I think there's rules of engagement. Um, and in a lot of those cases of these men that I said, there was some kind of sexual deviancy. There was some kind of, they stepped out on their wife, or, you know what I mean? And that's what makes me think when I think about these gurus that have sexual deviancy. I'm like, who do they work for actually? You know what I mean? Especially gurus that are into materialism. It's like, okay, I understand having nice things. I'm on board. But like the showy nice things, like what's the cutoff, I guess? You know, makes me wonder. I'm still kind of figuring out pieces of the puzzle as far as what spiritual laws are and how it affects people, but I think that there's an ultimate right and wrong. And just like you can't, if you step off a building and you die, you made it happen. So I think spiritually there's some of that stuff happening in this world. I suspect. Otherwise, you have to be protected by God or your higher self or a higher power or whatever. That's where I'm at so far. My thoughts and ideas and opinions will evolve over time, I'm sure, but from what I see, feel, think, that's where I'm at so far. So, is that a spiritual law? I don't know. But I can only explain like the death of innocent lives as past life retribution of some sort. It's the only way the equation works, you know? Like, what if all the Nazi soldiers became Palestinians? I'll probably get in trouble for saying that, but Just spitballing. Just an idea, you know what I mean? Then you're like, oh well, good, fuck them. But no, don't fuck anybody is my point. Like at some point, someone has to be okay with getting hit last and not responding. And that is a very hard thing for a person to do, but that's why turning the other cheek is a spiritual law. It is difficult to do, but it's what the world needs. At some point, we gotta put the guns down or say that I'm not gonna fight your war. I don't think it's okay to kill anybody, no matter what they said. Defend yourself, fine, but killing people. Like, is your God so weak he needs you to do it? God could just, he doesn't even have, not even Thanos, he doesn't have to snap his fingers. Just if you need to be gone, he'll do it. Anyways, it's getting dark. I once again canceled dinner to do some soul searching. This Tesla finally learned how to drive, so I'm gonna leave the parking lot before they hit me. I don't have anything profound to say to finish it. You know, I wish I did, but I don't really think about these too much before I start recording. It's ending at 1:11. Maybe that means something. I will see you soon, I'm sure. As I think about more things to say, I promise I'll be back. Love you, bye.